Hey guys, Mike from Beat Tech Reviews here, and again, thank you for checking out the video today. Again, I want to give a shout out to our brand affiliate partner NordVPN. Check out this quick video, and links are in the description below. Get your NordVPN for as little as $4 a month, so check it out.
A VPN, short for Virtual Private Network, is a cybersecurity tool for privacy and security. When you connect to it, a VPN creates a secure tunnel and secures data traveling between you and the VPN server. Encryption scrambles data, so to anyone outside the encrypted tunnel, the information looks like gibberish, meaning no snoops can sneak a peek at your online activity. NordVPN ensures that you can browse safely and privately in just a few clicks.
All right, guys. I don't know if you guys can hear me or you can hear us. Let's take a look here. Are you there, Tito?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, let me go ahead and dismiss the NordVPN ad. So thanks again for joining in, everybody. Happy Monday, September 22nd, right? We are a few days post WrestlePalooza, right? So definitely want to give everyone a shout out who is following us on YouTube or on TikTok. How's it going, Tito, man? How's everything going with you?
Oh man, everything's going good, but let me just add on to this for those people. Definitely worth picking up the NordVPN, and those people who would be kind of nervous. I mean, why be nervous? Stephanie McMahon said it on her podcast herself. So definitely take advantage. NordVPN, use his affiliate link to sign up, get some good deals on that, and obviously pair that with your Netflix, and yeah, you can basically watch the PLEs without having to worry about with the ESPNs. So take advantage. That's what I'll say to people.
Yeah. So first of all, thanks for the plug, man. That's something I did want to get into at the beginning of this stream before we, get into the WrestlePalooza, aftermath and discussion, right? So if you guys don't know what a VPN, right, it stands for Virtual Privacy Network, right? So I thought I had access to ESPN through my family's YouTube TV plan. Unfortunately, I did not have access to the plan. The last couple of minutes before WrestlePalooza was starting, I was like scratching my head, like, what do I do? Do I pay the $30 or do I just sign up for a VPN? So luckily for me, as a tech reviewer and as a podcaster for wrestling, right, I do actually have a Nord affiliate VPN. I guess not sponsorship, but like an affiliation with NordVPN. So I can get you guys a discounted rate if you guys click the description down below, especially on the YouTube link. Not so much TikTok because I don't have it set up for TikTok yet. But one of these days I will get that set up. But basically, again, I signed up. I did pay a one-time subscription fee for 2 years, which, again, ended up being a little, in the low 90s. I think it was $90 for 2 years, which comes out to like $3 and some change a month, right? But again, I have Netflix already. So once you download the NordVPN software on your PC or laptop, all you have to do is just change your location from the United States to another area that has WWE on Netflix, such as Canada. For me, I think I set it to the United Kingdom, and once I got that done, literally it took me like less than 5 minutes to get everything set up. Right, it's pretty easy, honestly. You just have to make sure you sign up, and you have your rebill signed on or whatever. Like I said, I signed on for the 2-year plan. Definitely worth it because I believe the savings that you're going to be saving per year, right, especially on the platform for WWE, right? Just think about it. I'm going to put it here on the TikTok screen. You guys are not going to really see it on the YouTube side, but you guys are going to be saving $719.76 for 2 years if you don't have ESPN already bundled with your cable or satellite subscription. So definitely check that out, guys. I just wanted to talk about that before, because again, I'm not going to be paying $29.99 a month for ESPN to watch these 5-match card PLEs. I can tell you right now, from someone, I can tell you something right now, like for someone that does their best to try to save money, I would rather pay that $90 for the 2 years, or, whatever, whatever's better for you. They have an annual plan or a monthly plan. I believe their monthly plan is like, $10 to $12 a month, depending on which one you choose. That's still better than paying $29 a month, right? Because if you're already paying for Netflix, why the hell do you want to pay another $29 when all of the international crowds, everybody around the world doesn't have to pay extra? So why do we? is the question, right?
Right.
So yeah, that's my deal with NordVPN. Again, thanks again for joining in, guys. We'll go ahead and get started. So, man, WrestlePalooza, man. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts? There's a lot of stuff going on right now in the media today, saying that ESPN, I guess a writer for ESPN, reviewed the show and he graded the show a C, or
The
most of the show was a
ESPN guy can. I mean, I don't know. First of all, I'm going to go a little bit left field and kind of come back into WrestlePalooza.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Go
She could probably break my arm, but Ronda Rousey needs to shut the hell up.
ahead.
I'm sorry, but you know,
Mhm.
I've been following wrestling since the golden era.
Yeah.
I've seen all the things that could possibly happen in WWE and in pro wrestling, right? WCW days, ECW days. For
Hmm.
for Ronda to cut that type of critique of AJ Lee's return and her in ring and everything like that, it really shows the reason why fans turned on Ronda. It really shows why. She's not in tune with pro wrestling. And
Yeah.
just because that she was in the UFC doesn't give her the right to critique people as if she's, this all top saying person of pro wrestling. AJ Lee, I felt, did a tremendous job. I know we're going to touch more into that match a little
Hmm.
later, but I just want to come off the gate swinging for the franchises right now. I think people got to understand this. Those that really aren't in tune into pro wrestling like that, or people who just started watching it,
Hmm.
for AJ Lee to do what she did, and you have to understand she's human like everybody else. So I'm for damn sure she had butterflies. I'm sure in her head she was like trying to make sure she didn't botch anything. And the excitement of being back in the ring in front of live fans and
Hmm.
doing, what she did amazingly 10 years ago as if she never left. That's a hard thing to do. Like, ask Batista when he came back and he faced Triple H,
Yeah.
for the career match. He tripped coming in the ring. He misjudged
Yeah.
his footing and fell.
Hmm.
Um, there are so many times that people come back from retirement or they come back, from like several year hiatus, and you can see what they call ring rust, obviously,
Hmm.
because they have to get reacquainted with the ring, they have to get reacquainted with the ropes, the space between each of the ropes, the length of the ring, the outside padding, the bumps they're gonna take. And you can see, and with AJ, I saw her nervousness in her eyes, but also her excitement. But her moves, I mean, like, okay, so what? The Black Widow submission. The first time she was
Yeah.
going to apply it, she kind of missed it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I felt like when she missed it,
Hmm.
they recovered pretty quickly. They made it
Yeah.
known. They didn't make it known that they had made a little error. It
Yeah.
felt like part of the choreography. Um,
Hmm.
and then she ended up pulling it off several times, and of course it's not going to look natural as if she was there 10 years ago doing it, on a weekly basis and then at house shows and stuff. So I think she did a great job. So Rhonda, shut the hell up because you
Yeah.
don't know what you're talking about. Like, go back to UFC and get whooped again by this younger generation. That's what I will say for sure.
Yeah. So my take on the whole Ronda Rousey thing is, yeah, I agree that she needs to
What up,
just.
Rhythm?
What's
I
up,
don't know if
Rhythm? Yeah, we got RNA on the YouTube side, by the way. And we got Dean Westerman. Thanks again for the comment. We'll go over some of the comments once we talk a little bit about this. But yeah, Ronda Rousey, man, like I was never really a fan of her to begin with. Like, yes, I knew about her UFC, popularity. I kind of knew when they brought her into the WWE that they were just going to kind of, push her up to the top really quick, which they did. I think, she won the
yeah.
championship really quick right away, right? There was nothing wrong there. Definitely, you could see the lack of training for her, as it definitely looked like she was just trying to destroy people in the ring in some of those first set of matches. Eventually, I think she did pick up the style, but I don't think she appreciated it for what it was. I don't think she appreciated the talent or the people, the amount of hours that it takes to make wrestling interesting, right? So I definitely just want to point that out, that I don't think Ronda Rousey really cared, like you were saying earlier, right? As far as the whole comments on AJ Lee, I think yes, she does have a right to say it, right, because she was in the industry for a few years, right? But don't knock on something that you're not doing anymore. If you wanted to leave, okay, leave, right? This is a company that paid you millions of dollars, right? Whether you liked it or not, right? I mean, I don't know if she's ever badmouthed UFC either, but it's like, okay, I mean, a lot of people really liked her in WWE. Like, I had a buddy of mine, right? I won't say who, but he's a huge fan of Ronda Rousey. In and out of WWE, from UFC to WWE, he was a big fan. He bought her shirts, big fan. So for her to go say stuff like that, it really kind of makes you look at her a different way, in a negative light. So I just,
Yeah, I would never pay her for someone to
yeah,
do a shoot like that. That was just
yeah,
like, why?
yeah.
Like
There's no
if she
point,
could do better, come back.
like, instead of like wishing everybody well and being like, hey, yeah, maybe if I'm not there, I mean, like, it would have been interesting wrestling her, even though, AJ Lee definitely was not the size of Ronda Rousey, right? Ronda Rousey is a little bit on the bigger side, but, I think they play into size also when it comes to like the matches and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, stuff I just typically don't care about, especially in the women's division, right? So yeah, man, I don't know. Ronda Rousey, just go have your babies and enjoy the millions of dollars that you got off the companies that you worked for, and go do whatever lame movies you're gonna be doing. Is all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, because that was just like, like, yeah, I don't really care. She's been verbal also, not just about that, but like other things as well.
Yeah, I know. I've been I've been reading a lot of her stuff on social media. That's why I'm just like, where's all this coming from? Like all this energy of Ronda Rousey. Like, where's it coming from?
I mean,
like,
you can tell a lot of the negative comments do come from like the original, the original direction from the prior administration, right? When Vince was still there. But definitely things have changed, right? I don't know.
Did she not get the memo that Vince is no longer owner of the company?
Probably not. She must think that that's still a thing or something like that.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So thanks, RNA, for joining in. And Dean Westerman says, agree. That WWE ticket prices are out of most of the audience reach, and now TKO wants to do the same thing with TV viewing. Yeah, yes, I agree, definitely. Like, now you need to have either different cable or satellite subscriptions, and you need different app allocations just to view what you want to view on a weekly basis. So it's being a WWE fan in 2025 is not it if you're not set off well financially, or if you don't have a VPN.
VPN.
Let me throw that in.
We're going to keep mentioning that throughout this live stream, because it is very, very helpful having a VPN.
Yeah. So like having the VPN, I basically was about to cancel my Peacock network last night, by the way, because I think they're going to continue to show the WWE NXT PLEs on there, but like, who the heck really watches the NXT PLEs to watch the NXT PLEs? And I know they're going to continue doing Saturday Night Main Event, which those shows have been very lackluster all year long, except for the one I went to. I think the one I went to in San Antonio was pretty okay compared to the last couple. So there's that. But yeah, I don't know. Any other thing before you want to get started on the WrestlePalooza card, man?
No, let's get started in WrestlePalooza.
All right. So I guess we can go from the beginning. Definitely, ESPN did a good job putting out like, that little video thing that they put out, video package that they put out for WWE, kind of highlighting its history and what it's come to now. But I did not like the voiceover that Triple H did, where it's like, this is wrestling, at its peak or something like that. I don't know if you remember what they said at the beginning or not.
I didn't catch it from that beginning.
But basically, yeah, they're basically saying this is WWE in its final form. Like, if this is their final form, then they still need a lot of forms.
Dragon Ball?
Yeah. Yeah, because I was like, what? Like, how is this the final form? Yeah.
That is a bold statement to make, considering the fact that we got years in the future of pro wrestling. Like, who knows what it's going to evolve to then? I mean, no, final form. I'm gonna say that. Try to keep it PG.
Gotcha.
Nope, not final form. This ain't Dragon Ball.
You're right about that. Here, let me go change the view here really quick. So I am bringing up the ESPN website now, because they are reviewing their own shows where they're reviewing the show from ESPN. Exactly. So I'm definitely excited about that. So I did want to get a little bit into that, guys, as ESPN did grade the PLE and pay per view, and basically they were saying it did not do very well. So we'll start off with the first match, man. Let me start off with that all the way down. I think it's at the very bottom here. Hold on, let's see. Okay, no, that's Drew McIntyre. So Lesnar versus Cena, man, was the first match. I don't know if you were able to tune into that match.
No, I caught the highlight replay thanks
Yeah.
to the many wondrous people on YouTube who tend to just like grab these and upload them and hold them on there until YouTube takes them down.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. I mean, but the thing is, like, now you can follow ESPN on YouTube, and they'll be replaying a lot of these clips as well. So if WWE takes them down or whatever, then you'll probably see it like on the USA Network, YouTube or CW, wherever, Facebook. You'll see it somewhere. So yeah, man, it really was what it was when I thought it was going to be. It was basically a squash match, right? Again, John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. They hype it up because, and first of all, Brock Lesnar looks great, by the way, for being gone for 2 years. I think the last time we saw him, he had a little bit of a gut, and it looks like he was drinking too many brewskis. But in this case, he does look like he did actually lean out a little bit, lost a little bit of weight. Match wise, again, it was a squash match. I was expecting a bunch of suplexes, right? Just like from SummerSlam, like in 2017 or whatever. But this time around, it was just hey, let's give each other the finisher a bunch of times, like the Goldberg and Lesnar matches that we've had in the past. And John Cena got a few in, man. I think he gave Brock Lesnar a few attitude adjustments, and from there it was just like, what's happening? You know what I mean? Like, why is this happening?
What was the point of this match?
There really was no point of this match other than to maybe possibly set up another match between John Cena, because John Cena did get pretty much buried in the match. But yeah, basically, again, after John Cena got his moves in, Lesnar was able to pull off like 5 F5s on John Cena, and then gave him the pin, and that was it. It was about an 8 to 9 minute match, man. So definitely didn't appreciate it. I thought it was going to be better than what it was. I was like, hey, maybe they'll go outside the ring. Maybe things will happen. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
the typical WWE style match. So according to the writer for this ESPN article, he gave it a C-, and I guess I'll just read off of what he said. He said Cena and Lesnar's 7th WWE singles encounter felt more like a prelude to their next encounter than an actual match. It was a brief and dominant win for Lesnar, which served to extend the rivalry for at least one more PLE, which hopefully not. I hope not, but we'll see. The match itself wasn't much of a match. Lesnar dominated early, reintroducing Cena to Suplex City. I guess he did. I don't really remember paying attention to Suplex City. Cena regained the momentum and swiftly hit Lesnar with a trio of AAs. Unfortunately, he couldn't keep Lesnar down, and again, intercepted with a bunch of F5s. So there were about 6 moves in the 9-minute matches. It's pretty much what you would expect out of Lesnar. So really not much from what I was enjoying. It looks like we have Gills in the TikTok side of the stream, so hopefully he's watching. He can say hi. So what's up, Gil Heyman? How you doing, man? So we'll move on to the next match. Yeah. They don't have.
I will say this about the Cena and Lesnar match. First of all, I don't even know what the point was for it. I know John Cena's retirement tour thing. Obviously, this is his last year. He's going to be gone after that. Apparently, no part-time matches. Basically, like if he does grace us, it's like with every other Legends contract. It's like showing up. Maybe assisting in like somebody else's feud to, help them get a victory or something like that, but nothing major for him. So, having him go, against Lesnar, like, I mean, I had different expectations for the match, but ultimately, the way that, they squashed John Cena was just like, why? Because he, was this punishment because he decided not to play the heel Cena any longer and he went face and faced Cody Rhodes and lost? Because, I mean, the only thing that I really see out of this, being a fan of pro wrestling, is basically we've just discovered Brock Lesnar's Achilles heel. Like now we know how you beat Brock Lesnar. You gotta do it the way Cody did it, which the match has to go longer than 10 minutes. He gets winded. if that's what they're trying to pitch as far as Brock's weakness, because I don't know who the writers are or whatever, but I mean, let's just like the 3 AAs, he didn't get put down.
Yeah.
Three, crossroads, which realistically, between an AA and a crossroads, AA is more devastating than a crossroads.
Yeah.
But 3 crossroads put Brock down.
Yeah.
3 AAs couldn't. So it's just like there's no consistency there. I
Mhm.
mean, like if they really wanted to build something more beyond than what Vince McMahon's vision was, but they're gonna have to start looking, not just to pretend to look at a realistic point of view, but really start to take realistic point of views.
Yeah,
And judging based on these finishers is like the type of grading that they should get. If it's a devastating move, it shouldn't be something that's that's you know like taken lightly.
for sure. For
I don't
sure.
know. The match itself, I don't think it should have went to WrestlePalooza. Honestly, I felt
Yeah.
like it went for like SummerSlam and really let them go at it.
Yep. I think they should have brought Lesnar in a lot sooner. Maybe the character arc for Cena should have changed a little sooner, went from his heel to face. And maybe Brock Lesnar could have brought that out of him. You know what I mean? I think it would have been more necessary for that. But again, it is what it is. I think, WWE did ruin half of the year of John Cena's final farewell tour, so to speak. So yeah, as far as the match goes, again, really wasn't enjoyable. If they are going to do another match, I mean, what's the next PLE? They're going to have a Crown Jewel in Australia, I believe, or is it Saudi? I don't even remember, honestly. Crown Jewel somewhere. And then I think it's going to be Crown Jewel in Perth, but again, I could be wrong. Maybe that was last year. I'm like fucking losing it here.
I think it's this year.
Yeah, we got Gil Heyman in the TikTok site saying we got to do the show on TikTok. Well, we'll try one of these days, man. Now that Gil Heyman has a TikTok, he wants to try to go live on just strictly TikTok. So, or I'll try to figure that out, man. We'll see how that goes.
You would have to in order to do that, you would have to bond your TikTok live with Restream in order to be able to do it that way.
And I don't even know how to do that.
I wouldn't shift everything just to TikTok. Honestly, there's still people on YouTube that watch, and so I don't want to abandon them for one platform.
Yeah, for sure. I'd rather, keep that. And plus TikTok doesn't save your live streams, man, unfortunately, right? Like YouTube does. YouTube, that's what I love about the YouTube platform is if I go live, the stream stays there. I could hide it or I can delete it later on if I wanted to, right? But the reason why, I'm sticking to YouTube as my main platform for podcasting is, again, this. So again, TikTok, I want it so that we can help promote the channel here, obviously. And so I could just do live watch alongs before I get banned on that platform, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to get banned for streaming the events eventually. I don't know exactly when.
This depends. There's always that one person that snitches on somebody because they think it's funny, and then they cost it for everybody else. Because being small, that's like the benefit of being a small creator is you could do stuff like live streaming a PLE and not have to worry about getting banned. But the moment that you're huge on TikTok and you do that, you'll get shut down under 15 minutes.
Oh yeah. No, understandable. And yeah, we got another comment from the TikTok side saying, are you going live? Are you going to live Monday Night Raw? I'm not sure. I'm thinking about it because I want to try the VPN again on the TikTok side. The only thing is, I'm doing it from my computer rather than, being able to control it from my TV. So, I mean, I can do it. It's just I really want to see if they don't show commercials like they say they don't, on the Netflix side for international shows. So yeah, I might do it.
RNA says you can save it.
What was that again?
RNA says that you can save your live streams on TikTok
for days, but you need to download it. Oh, that I didn't know. But the thing is, even then, our live stream is how long, whether I do a DDR stream or one of these streams, it's about 2 hours or at least an hour minimum. So it's you can't upload an hour clip on TikTok. The most is 10 minutes. And I don't want to have to clip, 10-minute segments, just so that people can watch the show. I think that's just a little too much work, honestly. But thanks for letting me know about that, RNA. Appreciate that. I mean, maybe I will have to look something into that eventually.
Yeah, I'm trying to tie everything into OBS. I actually love using OBS now.
Well, the cool thing, I used to use OBS, right? I think before I found stream apps like StreamYard and Restream that I used OBS, and the cool part is you could actually record the live stream while it's live, right? So if you want to like save a hard copy, obviously it's already going to save to YouTube, and you can just download that. But the thing is, like, you can keep the higher quality, and just as long as your computer or PC or whatever laptop has the memory to hold that amount of file, then yeah, you're good. So definitely, and you can just clip those files later, right? If you want. So yeah,
that's why I like to clip out like the moments. But yeah, we appreciate all the feedback. We love feedback. So I mean, now you
thanks,
can
RNA.
actually save your TikTok live streams.
Thanks, RNA. By the way, are you at work? I thought you were already starting your vacation, but I guess I'm wrong. I guess I'm a week ahead of that.
Oh, she said working right now.
We'll wait for her to reply. Yeah, she says working right now. So yeah, I definitely can't upload that long. So anyways, let's go on to the next match. Lesnar and Cena. I give it like a C- also, just like this guy. So
I give it a 1.
We'll go on to the next
out of 5.
You give it a 1 out of 5. Okay,
that's being generous.
Also, I don't know, man. Yeah, that is. Yeah. So yeah. Okay, if I were to do a 1 to 5 scale, it'd probably be like a 2. Or 2.5 max, I guess, just because they still got pops.
You're being nice.
Yeah, I'm being nice. I'm being nice. That's just me being a WWE loyalist over here, I guess. Just kidding. Anyways, let's move on. Next match, I believe, was the Usos versus the Vision. Okay, she says, I'm on vacation from this Saturday. Okay, got you. So nice. Starting this Saturday, you're on vacation. Gotcha. So then we get another week of streaming for the DDR streams, at least I hope. We'll find out, I guess. So yeah, tag team match, Vision versus Usos. Is this when you dipped into the stream, Tito?
Yeah, this is where I dipped in halfway through this match.
Yeah. So I mean, it really wasn't first of all, I didn't even know this match was going to be like, no hold barred or whatever. We saw weapons being used. We saw tables. LA Knight was kind of just randomly thrown in as like a last minute guest referee, I guess, because he's been having a lot of drama with Jey Uso, and Jey Uso is kind of like turned heelish now in a way. Prior to the match, right, where him and LA Knight were just going back and forth, and he really wasn't paying attention to Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, and it definitely cost them in the match. You know what I mean? We'll give winners losers. All right, so the Vision takes the W in this match. I really didn't think it was that bad of a match. I know there was a few miscues in the match when it came to, I think, like Braun Breaker. There was like some sort of botch there, and I know that Jey Uso busted himself open by accident after hitting what's his face, Braun Breaker with a chair in the back. So I don't know if you saw that. There's actually clips going around on TikTok where like they slow it down and he hits him in the back and the chair like ricochets and hits him in the face. And
go
ahead.
Gotta give it that, but it makes sense though. Like, for the Vision to win, it makes sense. If the Vision had lost this match, it would have totally demolished the entire stable that Seth is creating. The whole point of creating a stable, especially when you're a heel, is one for dominance and power. Mm-hmm. And over the last couple of months that the Vision has been around, they've been stale. Like I don't see massive dominance coming out of this group. Like when they took out Roman, it wasn't like, it didn't have that shock factor where you're emotionally invested in the storyline where you really just want to see Roman come back and just beat the crap out of all of them. But you even know that he's injured. I mean, it's like they've been very mild. So when Bronson Reed lost to Roman at SummerSlam, it would make sense that was it SummerSlam that they fought, or was it what was the pay-per-view after that? Are we talking
about recently? SummerSlam?
No, it wasn't SummerSlam that they went at it. It was at the PLE after SummerSlam. Which one was that one?
The one in France?
I think it was that one.
Yeah.
It was at the end of August.
Yeah, it was the France pay-per-view where Reigns won the match, but they gave him a beat down after the match. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I had gotten it wrong. I said that Bronson and Roman went at it at SummerSlam. It wasn't SummerSlam.
It was post. I honestly,
Yeah,
it was Clash in Paris. That's what we're
yeah,
thinking.
Clash. There you go. But it was like,
Yeah.
Roman won that match. You know what I mean? So if the Vision lost to the Usos, that would just have completely just destroyed any credibility that the Vision had. So the Vision had to win. Like Braun Breaker and Bronson needed a victory because they're kind of starting to become lackeys. Like already people are kind of
Mhm.
identifying them as J&J security. And
Oh
that's pretty sad,
man.
So they have to make some sort of marking. And so for them defeating the Usos, it makes sense. Like the Usos taking a loss to the Vision doesn't destroy the years legacy that the Usos have built as a tag team.
Yes.
So I think some fans in pro wrestling, I get it. Emotions are high and they want their favorites to win. But when if like you really want to know how other wrestling fans are able to kind of like piece together what is going to happen in the future, really honestly, you just got to have a good psychology of wrestling. You got to
Mhm.
understand, okay, they can't always make the good guys win. But look how
Yeah.
bad the golden era kind of ended, right? It was always like Hulk Hogan, longtime champion, and Macho Man Randy Savage, longtime champion. You know, Bret Hart and all these guys, heroes were the longest reigning champions. Heels were like the transitional champions. And then they flipped that in the Attitude Era, and it worked because more fans were glued when The Rock was a heel coming around doing his Elvis impression voice and just completely, tearing down the fans every chance he got. But the
Mhm.
fans loved it. So
Yeah.
the Vision taking the win was a good decision for them to go over. I think it kind of adds more of an aesthetic because the Vision can prey upon the fact that Jimmy and Jay are not on the same page.
Mhm.
Jay kind of taking the more tribal chief approach,
Yeah.
realizing that all the stuff he was doing before, which is what we said, right? When he was world heavyweight champion, we're like, he's lacking substance. He's too much on the yeet and all that other stuff. So it's almost as if like that they kind of planned him to be that way, be the nice Jay for a while, realize that's not working, start
Mhm.
to understand what Roman meant,
Yeah.
and now he's starting to act like Roman,
Mhm.
and it's working. So we'll see. I think that to keep Jay on the sheets without him kind of dropping down to a mid carder, I feel like that they're probably going to have him and LA Knight feud for a while.
Yeah.
Um, just to kind of keep because both of them are world heavyweight championship material. In my book, I can see it any day. LA Knight world heavyweight champion, Jey Uso world heavyweight champion. But how do you keep all these guys fresh and hot when you also have CM Punk, who you're kind of building a storyline with against Seth Rollins, who took the belt from him. Was it Clash in Paris is where it was at?
Yep.
Um, and so, yeah, it's this is one of those things where they talked about there's too many sharks in the pool. I mean, yeah, there's sharks in the pool, but there are too many great whites. There are too many good opportunities to for LA Knight, Jay, and all them to be world heavyweight champion. Even Sami Zayn, like any one of those guys, at the end of the day, world heavyweight champion, and fans are not going to be upset. They would not hate it.
Mhm.
So this is how you play the board where Seth can be world champion, CM Punk can run and try to get back his world heavyweight championship. Jey Uso still is in the eye of being world heavyweight champion. LA Knight also stays in the eye of being world heavyweight champion, and nobody loses credibility. Because even then, if Jay, who has this heel persona, is going on right now, let's say CM Punk gets his world heavyweight title back. Well, Jay can play the heel in that feud between him and Punk and run for the world heavyweight title. And Punk could drop the belt to Jay, so Jay would have a legitimate title run after feuding with him at least a good couple, like maybe 2 or 3 PLEs, and drop the belt to him. I can see that. So I mean, yeah, all this is really brewing up to be a nice little storm. We
Yeah.
just have to let them do their thing.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of drama going on between those three. I think continuation as far as why, like maybe we'll see, a continuation of Jey Uso versus LA Knight. But whatever is gonna happen, I think it is gonna lead up to that War Games match, right? Like and again, it's gonna be one of those
Mhm.
things where can they coexist, in the same room, in the same building, right? Like because again, I mean, Survivor Series is not too far off. I think that's one in November, right? So we're
Yeah.
definitely not. We're like literally like 8 weeks away from watching that PLE, and I don't know. I think it's the last
I'm
PLE of
ready
the year.
for it.
Yeah, I think it's the last PLE of the year, but
Yeah, it
definitely
is.
guys like Roman Reigns are going to come back. You're going to see the Vision, right? Probably as the heel group. So people are, already saying like, oh, Brock Lesnar is going to be in the Vision side because of his affiliation with, Paul Heyman,
Paul
right?
Heyman.
Which that I think that just going backtracking to the Cena and Lesnar match. If you saw that the beginning, Paul Heyman came out and he introduced Brock Lesnar, and
Yeah.
I thought it was cool. Even though it's not something we see too often anymore. He's still advocating for Brock Lesnar, and I thought that was pretty cool to see. Even though it's not something that we're probably normally going to see anymore, obviously. But yeah, so Brock Lesnar, even not really caring to be a part of a group because we've never really seen that except for when he had his stable like way, when he first started.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone remembers that, but anyway, anyways, him being a part of a stable with the world champion and two new guys, right? And you can tell, like, I could already see like the face off between Lesnar and Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, right? Them just kind of getting in each other's faces. Like, that's going to be cool, when it does happen, right? And
Yeah.
we've already seen the Brock Lesnar Gunther face off, right? It happened at the Royal Rumble a couple of years ago, right? So it's not like we haven't seen one of the newer guys face to face with a guy like Brock Lesnar. It's just like how are they going to set it up? But my question to you is, okay, if they let's say for instance we have a War Games match, Vision versus obviously Jey Uso's team, right? Who's gonna be that fourth and fifth member of the Vision? And who's going to be on the other team?
So if I was to lead into this, two things here. One, on the Vision side, I could definitely see it being the members of the Vision and Brock Lesnar. People were pointing out that the strong possibility that Roman comes back. Roman builds his team, which consists of the Usos, John Cena, and possibly LA Knight.
Would you throw in Sami Zayn in there also?
Not really, just because I want Sami Zayn to kind of rise on a different occasion. Like
Okay, so leave Sami out.
I want Sami Zayn to just kind of really catapult himself without any attachments to any groups, any friends, or anything like that. Like, he's done that way too long.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to see him stand off on his own. So let's say like that's the teams. Now my prediction is that if that's the teams, whatever it is, Seth's team is going to win this year at War Games. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
Only because the last two War Games has been the face team that's gone victorious. They can't just have Roman's team win again this year because then it would be too predictable. So, I mean,
Yeah.
yes, while this is still a predictable statement to say that the Vision's going to go over, it could be, but how they go over and win. I mean, I have said this to my daughter when we were watching WrestlePalooza. I told her the stars are aligning perfectly. That just in case we have injuries or have any type of thing that takes a member out, you have other storylines that are going to be fire that can continue on without losing traction, momentum, or ratings.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, this whole ordeal with Paul Heyman and Brock. Let's say just for just no apparent reason other than personal reasons that Seth had to dip away. They could easily create this thing where Paul screws over Seth in like a short amount of time in favor of Brock.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many avenues, so it just works out perfectly why Brock would even talk to Heyman and say that they need to talk later.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Heyman is a guy that you can't trust him with anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
Punk said that, Roman said that to Rollins. It's exactly like how it is. You're just the next flavor. I mean, Seth is never going to learn that lesson because John Cena told him that when he was part of the Authority. You're just another flavor for the Authority, and Seth still hasn't learned that lesson. Like, he is openly close to Paul, and it's like, you shouldn't be, unless that's Seth's plan, which is to seem like he's, gullible in that faction because Seth is the architect. He could
Yeah.
be like 10 steps ahead of Paul Heyman and already know when Paul's going to screw him over. But I mean,
Yeah.
that's just how I see all this building up. and it's looking to be good. So that's who I think is going to be in the teams for War
Mhm.
Games, and I feel like that Seth's team is going to go over. He's going to get that victory.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that the heel faction would win this year, and they should, right? And they should give the pinfall to either like a guy like Bronson Reed or
Mhm.
Braun Breaker, right? I think
Yeah,
I think a lot of people are kind of complaining about it right now, but we're seeing them more and more week to week, right? A lot of the main events are including these guys, right? And it's for a reason, right? Obviously, you still have guys like CM Punk and Seth Rollins that are still at the top of the card, but they want these guys to be the future because again, Punk, has a few good years left. Rollins has discussed retirement recently, also on a few podcasts, right? He's got his knee issues, and definitely, his not so much his health, but he has a daughter, that he might want to raise and be at home with, right? So it's like just like Roman Reigns being gone like half the year, like at this point, like they're gone more because of their families than anything else now, which I'm glad that WWE is allowing them to do, right? Because it
yeah,
definitely wasn't like that 20 years ago or even longer than that. So they're trying to mold us into getting used to seeing guys like Gunther, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, and some of the new talent like Lyra Valkyria, right? Because they are going to be the main eventers in the next 5 years, right? We are going to be seeing them main event WrestleMania, which some of them already have, right? But a lot of them are going to continue that trend. Once we start seeing wrestlers move off like Charlotte Flair, Bayley. Becky Lynch obviously, has been there just as long. So we'll see. I mean, it's been a very interesting year for WWE. So, but yeah, any other comments on the War Games before we move on to the third match of the card here?
now let's move to the third match.
So probably the best match of the night in a lot of people's eyes, right? We're moving on to the Women's World Championship match, which was Io Sky versus Stephanie Vodker, man. You got to watch this, right,
It was a good match.
on the stream, right?
Yeah, that was a good match, especially the way that
Yeah.
it ended too. I mean, I was thinking so many different things, but I'm glad. I love the way that the match finished,
Yeah.
honestly, and I love the respect between them two. Stephanie basically giving respect to EO, and EO giving back flowers. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a good moment. You don't see a lot of that anymore. Like, and I
Mhm.
think that's one of the things that we've kind of lost in pro wrestling
Mhm.
is at times where there could be respect given between the competitors. I mean, when you see those moments, those are like Haley's Comet. If you
Mhm.
missed it, you freaking missed out.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
you don't get that very often. What was like a time that I could even think about
Mhm.
honestly was what Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes
Mhm.
uh, after their third bout, and Cody came out victorious.
Yeah.
And no one expected Brock to raise his hands, and
Yeah. Which is not a very Brock thing to do, honestly.
especially for Brock Lesnar, So it's
Yeah.
like seeing Stephanie do that with Io, that was pretty good. No interferences with Asuka. As far as I didn't see anything like that because I mean there was a point I did
Yeah.
step away because I was cooking my daughter's
Yeah.
birthday.
So yeah, I mean, during the match, or prior to the match, I was also discussing like, hey, are we going to see interference? Is there going to be something, with Kyrie Sane or Oscar, or even possibly Rhea Ripley, right? I mean, that's something that we
Yeah,
were discussing during the match as I was streaming on TikTok, and for the most part, nothing happened, right? I was expecting something. I was expecting Oscar to, just kind of randomly show up, and then maybe Rhea Ripley comes out and starts, they start attacking each other, and then maybe again Io Sky gets distracted, right? From that, and then of course Stephanie, just pulls off the victory. But no, it was a clean match. Very my only take on the match was it went a little longer than I wanted it to be. Right, I think it was
yeah.
close. I want to say it was like an over 20-minute match. It was like 23 to 25 minutes. Um, they ESPN guy gave it a B+ match. I thought it was an A, honestly. You know what I mean? Io and Stephanie are veteran wrestlers, even though Stephanie has only been here a year. She's been wrestling for years, and they've actually wrestled against each other in other promotions prior to WWE, so they know each other. So I feel like there was good chemistry in the ring
Oh
with
yeah.
these two. I really loved Stephanie's finisher. I don't think I've seen that. Because she normally just typically does that like it looks like a power bomb, but she throws them on the knee. I guess that's usually her main move, I believe.
No.
But she did like this top rope, like Pac like you know, I guess twist and twirl finisher. I don't even know what to call it. I don't think they have a name for it yet. But I was like, damn, that looked good, man. Honestly, you know what I mean. So the fact that she went and did that, pin wise, I think I said it on the stream. I was like, she has her shoulders down also. So I think I mean, it's a good thing that the camera angle wasn't catching that. But if they would have had it to the side, I was gonna say both of their how do you say, you know, shoulders were down, but you know, Stephanie Vaquer did have you know, Io Sky in that roll up pin type situation. So I guess you would have to give it to Vaquer since you know, she didn't since Io Sky didn't have a hand on top of Stephanie Vaquer, you know what I mean? So other than that though, no major complaints about the match, you know, other than again, it kind of dragged a little bit. I think like the first 10 minutes dragged for me. It was a little slow, but you know, towards the end, you know, it was picking up and it got interesting. And then after that, you know, the match ended and, you know, Stephanie Vaquer wins her first WWE title. And, you know, dude, she's had a crazy fucking year. First of all, let's look at the year that she's been in WWE. In the full year that she hasn't not even been there, she has won the NXT North American Championship. She won the NXT title and she is already a world champion within her first year. How many people can say that, dude?
Yeah,
not it's a lot of say that.
It's a pretty good growth in, like, you know, with this one. I mean, for those who are fans of Io, you guys gotta understand. I mean, there's this chemistry between Io and Rhea that's just brewing.
Mm-hmm.
And if anyone hasn't really been paying attention, people need to start paying attention to it, because it's the same type of chemistry that was building between Alexa and Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely can spot seeing, like, not just a one-time challenge for the women's tag team championship, but to kind of start seeing like one of those feuds that's like the best of type feuds, right? It's like the best of 5 or the best of 7. Hopefully not 7, that's too many. But you know, point is that, you know, I definitely would love to see like a build up. And like the perfect way to build it up, so that way they don't just jump straight into Rhea and Io challenging Alexa and Charlotte for the women's tag title, is to actually have them unite as a team against Asuka and Kairi. Yeah. That would be a great way to build that tag team relationship between Rhea and Io, because if they don't do that, if they don't have Rhea and Io come together as a team, then they really don't have a point of, you know, I know this is unpopular to everybody, but they really don't have a point of keeping Rhea face.
Yeah.
There's not, because I mean, she's already plowed through the women's divisions of heels. So this is how you keep Rhea as a face. Now, in my perspective of Rhea, it doesn't matter if she's a heel or a face. She's so over with the fans that
it doesn't matter.
They're always going to think the sun shines out of her ass. So, and you know, however they do it. But I do feel that coming between Io and Rhea. You know, that whole frenemies thing happening, because I mean, you know, Rhea's goal was to pin Io, and she still hasn't done it.
Yeah,
that's still an open thing, and that can also lead to a future story where Rhea betrays Io eventually to want to get that victory. So there's just so much that they can do here, especially with the writers, and hopefully the writers don't screw this up. But you know, going back to the match in itself and the way that it went out, I think that's the best way to do it. I feel like that after looking at all aspects of this match, if they had a run-in from Asuka, or if they had, you know, like anything, it would have jeopardized, you know, basically Stephanie's run as the women's world champion, because I definitely don't want her to be treated in the same manner that Lyra Valkyria was.
Connection lost. Hello.
There you go. What happened? I was like, oh, I hope the stream didn't crash again.
Quick
like
second, it said connection lost, but yeah, no. So it said, but now the thing says end stream on top, so it's still going.
Oh yeah, it's still going. I see the counter going. Okay.
I'm still seeing it live on YouTube. Hold on 1 second. I think it was me. I don't know.
For a second, but you know, for those who probably didn't catch what I was saying, was saying before the interruptions possibly happened, or I'm just repeating myself.
Gil Heyman sabotaging.
Yeah, for sure, man. He's hitting that switch because he only wants us on TikTok.
For real.
What I was saying was that I was happy that this match was clean. I didn't want anything to damage Stephanie's image as world champion going into her major title run in one of the major brands. Um, this is a good way to start out. I didn't want them to treat her like they did to Lyra when Lyra was Intercontinental Champion, and that kind of felt a little bland and stale. And it kind of picked up when she feuded with Becky, but then of course Becky has the title now, and whether you love Becky Lynch or you hate her, she's making that title relevant. So,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole thing with Lyra and Bailey right now, that's a fun one.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Bailey's starting to become like a little bipolar and going through her different phases of like, the hugger Bailey, the heel Bailey, and then the current Bailey, which is like, it's just weird. I don't know what's going on with the whole Bailey thing yet. Still,
Yeah, they're making us split personalities, but
find out tonight.
overall, I grade the women's world title match like 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Give
I
it
thought
that.
I thought the women's match. Yeah, if I were to give it like a 4.5, or we'll go star ratings, right? Like we'll do a Dave Meltzer over here, right? I gave it. I think I had told one of my other buddies that I gave it like a solid four and like one quarter star, right? I thought it was good, but I
Yeah.
didn't think it was like oh like hey like let's give it a 5-star rating. No, it was a good match though. I was entertained, and I enjoyed both wrestlers in the match. Both of them got to showcase their talents, and we got to see things that we don't normally see from each wrestler, right?
Yeah.
So definitely not disappointed in the match. I think that was one of the top two matches of the night. Which if you're ready, I can move on to the next match.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so next match, right? It's a small card, guys. By the way, we only had 5 matches, so here was the original main event that was supposed to happen, but I believe ESPN had WWE change it like the last couple of days leading into the PLE, right? But this was supposed to be the main event, which is the tag team between CM Punk and the returning AJ Lee versus the Vision's Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. Man, you got to see the match, right?
Yeah, I got to see the match, and then I stepped away.
Yeah.
I stepped away towards the ending, so like I know who got the victory. I just didn't see the actual Black Widow tap out.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
I was mad about that. Like, oh, I wanted to see it, but I mean, I kind of like you, like I said, if you got good psychology with pro wrestling, they're gonna give AJ Lee the victory. They had to with
yeah,
the what she has going on. They're not gonna make her lose to Becky Lynch and then stunt her what she's supposed to be bringing in, because ultimately her return is to bring something to the table. They needed a wow factor, not just for the CM Punk and Seth feud, but also for the women's division.
yeah.
It's getting
Okay.
stale watching the same females just going in circles. I mean, so they got to bring a little interesting dynamic, and they know that works because they've done it before. Like they brought back Trish Stratus, and she had a run. They brought
Oh
back
yeah,
Lita, she had a run. So they know bringing back legends back into the company does do something, and it does stir up, the division. And for the women's division, this was much needed. But obviously, it made sense because I don't know what it is, but Seth needs to watch his wife because I think she's addicted to motorboating CM Punk. Like she just loves jamming her face into his chest. So I don't know. I mean, is Phil Brooks wearing that Cupid's cologne thing that I see on TikTok all the time? Is that what it is? He's driving Becky crazy that she's got to
yeah.
smack him and then she's got to motorboat him. Like
I don't
what?
know, but I've been thinking about buying that cologne, but I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical, honestly.
I
Being a
don't think it
single
drives
being a
him
single
crazy.
guy, I just want to know if it works or not.
Can you imagine? I mean, like that type of sentiment for that cologne. I know it's off topic, everybody, but just bear with me.
Mhm.
But that type of sentiment for that cologne comes out of anime, because there's like weird ass anime that has stuff like that. Like, oh, this cologne's a magic potion, makes a girl fall in love with you. It's like, oh my god. I know it's supposed to smell really good, or it's supposed to have like a really good fragrance. I mean, I don't know.
Well,
The
it looks like
semifinal boss ordered some, huh?
yeah, the semifinal boss ordered some of the cologne, so I guess that's why he has a girlfriend now. I guess.
RNA dipped out, so I
Yeah,
don't know if she's
RNA
still
dipped
there.
out, and just want to comment on Chief's comment. I don't know if he's still here or not. This was a great storytelling PLE. My problem is why hype it up like WrestleMania and don't deliver first ESPN show too. Yeah,
Yeah, it was pretty sad.
yeah. I mean, it
The
was.
whole
I don't know.
And yeah, I get what he's saying because you would have thought
Mhm.
like they would have done almost similar to like what they did, but like the very first episode of Monday Night Raw on Netflix. I mean,
Mhm.
that was pretty big.
Yeah.
I felt the same way, Chief. I get you. I'm with
Yeah.
you on that one. But
And the thing about that is like the arena did not sell out, by the way. I think, but I think they had it set up for like 13 to 14,000 people, and they actually had like a stage this time. Normally, like at these events, they typically sell out now, right? So WWE has to do smaller entrances, if in some parts of the arena so that they can fit everybody in there, and that's what we've been seeing like at the international shows, but we didn't see that at this one in Indiana. So I'm just trying to think to myself, what's going on? Why didn't they try to go that route? And just instead, obviously ticket prices are going up, obviously.
yeah,
But like, like they couldn't even make the entrance look special. It looked just like a typical Raw, SmackDown entrance. Like this is going back to like the early WWE Network days where they would just use the same set for every little thing. And I was just like, oh my God, this is boring. Like, mix it up, make it look good. You know what I mean? Like, I heard a lot of people complaining, saying that the production sucked. Like, the production just was not good. The production value was not good. So I don't know, man. You tell me, like, what do you think? What did you think of the set and everything about like how they put together
I
Wrestle?
mean, you weren't far off when you made mention that it kind of reminds you of like a SmackDown show or Raw
Yeah,
show. I mean, it really, the whole atmosphere just really kind of just looked like that.
yeah.
So you didn't really get to do much. And I guess that's why it just kind of it was like off for like entrances, right? We make
Mhm.
mentions of entrances. Shout out to the person who made the meme on social media showing Becky and Seth and their costume design and
Oh,
comparing it to the SpongeBob movie where
I'm God.
SpongeBob's doing the Goofy Goober song at the end. And it's
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah, it's easy to really recognize that because they seemed out of place. Like, you do your normal entrances for like the top brand shows and even house shows, right? But you
Hmm.
do the grander stuff for PLEs, right? And I know that's what Seth and Becky was doing, husband and wife team. They came out with similar matching costumes, got it, but it really stood out and not in a good way just because of the way that the whole thing was set up. I mean, it didn't feel like that's something that I would feel would be like at a Royal Rumble match, mixed tag team match at Royal Rumble. You would see them come out like that, or Survivor Series, or
Yeah.
or even WrestleMania.
Hmm.
Um, so it did feel a little bit off. But
Yeah.
I mean, overall, this match in itself, I mean, like I said earlier in the
Hmm.
beginning of the podcast, I kind of already gave my take on AJ Lee and her return and how she looked
Yeah.
in the ring and everything. And I still stand by that. It was just a butterfly, jitters, excitement of being back, live crowd. I mean, I try to put myself in their shoes. And if I was a returning, performer in WWE, going into that ring and hearing all the fans, like just the fans just going off, chanting my name, screaming, and all this other stuff, I would have goosebumps. It'd be hard for me to stay in character and contain that excitement,
Hmm.
knowing that all these people are excited to see me again. And this is like my first match back. And do I still have it? Do I not? Because I mean, that's for those who don't know, that's the reason why fans chant, "You still got it." It's an affirmation to let the wrestler know that to them, you didn't miss a beat. This is like how you were 10 years ago or however long you were gone. And so yeah, her nervousness, CM Punk being the supportive husband, craziest thing in the world, especially when she got the victory.
Oh
And
yeah.
you didn't hear him say it, but you could read his lips what he said
Yeah.
about his wife getting Becky to tap out. So it was great, but I think flowers I would give to CM Punk and to Seth because in real life there is real heat between Phil and Kobe.
Hmm.
Like we know this.
Yeah.
And whether they ironed out the past to the present or not, they are doing a really good job keeping it professional
Yeah.
as far as the physicality of the whole thing. When they trade barbs on the microphone, they really are shooting slugs under the table. And
Hmm.
sometimes it goes dangerously into like, yeah, you shouldn't say that on TV territory. But for the flip side, they didn't try to do anything to like injure each other. You know what I mean? Because they could. They're
Yeah.
humans. Seth can really snake a way in to just kind of hurt. CM Punk and make sure he goes home on an injury. They know how to injure people. So, kudos to the guys to keeping it professional regardless of personal feelings. Like, I can always appreciate talent that can do that. So they have my respect.
Oh yeah. So yeah, no, my only thing on the match was, and something that I really enjoyed was, the first half of the match. It was really, CM Punk kind of getting pummeled. Like they kind of, trolled us to seeing, AJ and Lee and Becky at first, and then right away, Becky tags out and Seth comes in. So CM Punk has to come in also. Because it's a mixed tag match, right? You're not going to get intergender matches here, unfortunately, right? But what we did see during the match was, we saw, when the ref was turned around or something was happening, Becky Lynch was slapping up CM Punk again, and vice versa. The later the match got, we started seeing more, physical stuff between like the males and the females in this match, right?
Yeah.
Which was something I didn't think I was going to see. I was like, whoa, I think at one point, somebody got pushed into the stairway. I forgot who exactly. But it was like I think it was Becky Lynch that pushed CM Punk into it or something like that. And, Rollins also got his hands on AJ Lee at, one point. We saw the females pulling off some of the moves on some of the guys, right? I think we saw a curb stomp from AJ Lee to Seth Rollins. So that was the enjoyable part for me, was that we got to see, even though it's not that type of match where the guys are just going to be directly wrestling the girls, we did get to see a little bit where the husband was helping out the wife when like when Seth was picking up Becky to do that that drop on AJ Lee, but she missed, unfortunately. Yeah. So, and just vice versa, right? The team helping out each other, right? There was a little bit of miscommunication and cues on some of those moves, but they recovered. And I think you talked about it earlier in the stream where AJ Lee initially, the first widow's peak that she was trying to get into, it kind of got messed up, but they kind of turned it into a reversal, right? So I think Becky Lynch has done this so long now that they understand, like, hey, if something happens, let's try to make it look like it didn't happen, right? So she hurt. They got out of it, and right away she got AJ Lee into her what is that move that they call it, where she puts her in the armbar?
The disarmer.
Yeah, the disarmer. Yes. So right away that happened during the match also, where we kind of think that she messed up, but if you're a kid watching that, as an adult, that was a little bit of a mess up, but as a kid watching that, you're not going to be like, oh, no. You're not going to know as a kid, right? You're a kid. You're just trying to watch your favorite wrestlers wrestle, and you want to see good guy versus bad guy, who's going to win, right? So yeah, that was my favorite part, was that we got to see a lot of those little mixed tag things where the girls were attacking the guys, and the guys were not necessarily attacking the girls, but they were helping their tag partners, their wives, hurt the other partner, basically. So that was very enjoyable for me to watch, and who knows, maybe we start seeing more stuff like that. I remember when I think Facebook had like some sort of thing with WWE where they had like a mixed tag challenge, right? And I remember, I think Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss were a team, and they were very like popular during that. I don't even know who won that thing overall, but I remember watching a few of those matches, and they were enjoyable. Like I didn't have anything against them. It was definitely something interesting to see, right? Having a mixed tag match. Maybe it's something that we can maybe see going forward, maybe on the shows like Saturday Night Live's main event or whatever else. So yeah, overall, I enjoy the match. I give it at least a 4-star or a 4 rating.
Yeah, I give it about that. I give it about a 4 rating as well. On just the match in itself. And, I can see this leading up into allowing the women to kind of just have their own feud, with AJ getting the victory. I can see her now in discussions of wanting to pursue the Intercontinental title. And that would set up for a nice, just AJ versus Becky, no Seth or CM Punk involved, and let them two really shine in a match. I think that's what it is. And that's how I feel like, oh, shoot, alarm.
Uh-oh.
I got a little bit of time left.
Okay, we're moving on to the main event after this, so we can just talk about that real quick.
Yeah, let's go into the main event because I
Yeah.
gotta go get my kids.
Okay, yeah. So quick, I mean, obviously, let's get into it real quick. So Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre, which, again, the lead up was a little bit interesting, but Cody has really been gone over the last month and a half due to recording the Street Fighter movie. So we really haven't seen
Kyle.
him. Yeah, Guile, Guile. So yeah, basically, the match wasn't too long. I would say it was less than a 20-minute match, maybe like a 17-minute match. I really was going for Drew McIntyre on this one. I was like, hey, they kind of need to give Drew the title, man. Like, I think they need to just give him the championship so he can run with it for a little bit. Let Cody win it back, at the Royal Rumble next year, and see what happens, right?
They don't need to win it back. Like, to be serious, to all the Cody crybabies out there,
Yeah,
like he's had a pretty good run.
yeah,
The if you guys can't see him without the belt, it
yeah.
means that he hasn't reached the level like Roman Reigns, John Cena,
Mhm.
Seth Rollins. He hasn't reached that level yet. But if
Yeah.
people are going to argue and say that he's on top on that level with those guys, well, then you got to be able to see him without the belt. Like,
Mhm.
he's had a good run. He won it from Roman. He's held it for a while. He lost it to Cena. Cena's held it for a while. He won it back from Cena. This is his second title run. I think
Yep.
Cody at this point, in my opinion, he's put himself on that level where he doesn't need a
Yeah.
belt to really push him anymore. So Drew, on the other hand, um, I would definitely like to see Drew as champion again.
Mhm.
Obviously, because when he did have a title run, there wasn't anyone really in the arenas. We had those screens in the Thunderdome or whatever they called it,
Yeah.
and I would love to see dual heel champions. Aside from seeing like CM Punk trying to regain the World Heavyweight title, I would
Mhm.
love to see, kind of like a Night of Champions type thing where champion against champion and, two heel champions. That would be fun as hell to see Seth
Yeah.
and Drew,
That would have been interesting.
who had beef before. So
Yep.
obviously it'd be so natural for them to just throw barbs at each other while gearing up for their match, champion versus champion, and who's the more dominant champion. And that type of thing would have been really cool. But I was pulling for Drew to win, and I'm hoping that if they have a rematch at Survivor Series, that's the outcome is that Cody's going to drop the belt to Drew. I think Drew deserves it.
Mhm.
I see a lot of good things that can come out of it. I mean, people probably don't like this idea, and it doesn't mean that Gunther would have to become like an actual face, but to have Gunther go for the WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre in a face position, but not really
Mhm.
playing the face role, I think would
Yeah.
lead to some really good matches. Um, yeah, I don't know. I was it was a letdown to see
Yeah.
Cody win.
Yeah,
So
I really was pushing for Drew on this one. I was like, man, they got to give him the belt, and unfortunately they didn't. I think like the later the match got, I was like, oh no, they're gonna give it to Cody. They kind of trolled it a little bit right during the match. I mean, Drew McIntyre did get the Claymore off on him, a couple times, right? He missed a couple times. Same thing with Cody, right? Cody got a few crossroads in, but then once when they were at the outside in that spot where Drew went through the table with that kick, I was like, oh no,
yeah,
he's definitely not going to win now. They're already basically like trolling that he's hurt and we're not going to see him win. And I just don't see the point of keeping it on Cody for now. You know what I mean? And like you said, they don't need to keep the title on him for him to be relevant. Like he is one of the faces of the company, in my opinion. He has that level of status that he's been back a couple years already where everybody knows who he is. Now everyone wants to see him wrestle or have good feuds. So I definitely didn't see the
yeah,
reason
that's
why
what
they
I'm gonna
couldn't give
see.
it to Drew. So I gave the match like a 3, honestly, man. It was all right.
I gave it a 2.5. Like
Yeah, like
honestly, like
no
I want to see.
interference, no nothing. We were supposed to maybe possibly get Randy Orton interfering. There was talks. I think there were talks that Orton was going to turn on Cody for that match. You know what I mean? So, but they just didn't
I would
follow through.
that would have been interesting, and even then, even if Orton didn't turn on Cody, it would have been a great way because remember they did that when Cena was heel, Randy wasn't really going after him just because Cena turned heel and started talking
Mhm.
crap about fans. But like he ultimately said it like he wanted to get what number 15 if he won, he would have been like a 15
Yeah.
time champion.
Yep.
And so like this would have been a perfect way for not to make Randy and Cody go at it, but Cody drops the belt to Drew, and then Drew and Randy have an even further feud that can lead to WrestleMania, or it can
Mhm.
lead to the Royal Rumble, wherever they want to do it. I would say WrestleMania. I would like to see Drew go to WrestleMania as champion, or at least SummerSlam next year.
Yeah.
Give
Well,
a good length run with the title, but let Randy take it off of him and let Randy get number 15 before he decides to bid farewell and retire. I get it, the numbers game and everything like that, but I was just disappointed that they felt like, okay, we had to have Cody stay champion. Like they haven't really been booking him well to defend that title. Like Logan Paul, like how. No offense to the Logan Paul fans out there, if there's any, but yeah, I was just like, they never really gave him any really good matches that had substance behind, a title defense. The closest that came to it was Solo, I think, and that's pretty damn sad. So, yeah,
yeah. Well, I don't really have too much to comment on that main event, man. Again, it was all right. I think that could have been the first match of the card. They could have gave us Cena and Lesnar at the end for all I care. Would have been the same thing to me regardless, because the match outcome would have felt the same at the end. So I just felt like if I was there in the arena, I would have felt a little robbed from spending so much money for a PLE that only has 5 matches. And again, like, 3 out of the 5 matches were very lackluster. So I definitely, as a WWE fan in 2025, it's, watch it at home and spend a little money, or if you have the opportunity to see it in person, you want to spend thousands of dollars. What are you going to do?
Yeah. But I mean, as lackluster as it opened, it peaked in the middle, and then it was lackluster to the end. So
I know that's sad that the mid card was actually like the more interesting than the intro and the main event, because the intro is supposed to hype the fans up, and the main event is supposed to be the best match, and that is not what we got tonight, unfortunately, or I'm sorry, a couple nights ago, Saturday night. Tonight we'll watch Raw. Maybe I'll go ahead and live stream Raw via Netflix again from my NordVPN. We'll see how that goes, guys. Link in description down below, guys. By the way, don't forget to check that out.
Two things I will leave the viewers with the VPN. Okay, before we close out. One, obviously, and what we're discussing is that you get access to those PLEs. Okay, don't feel bad. Don't start thinking like, oh my God, I'm stealing from WWE. Stephanie McMahon said you can. Okay, so if anything, blame her. She gave it away on her podcast. She said that's what she does, and
that's hilarious. One of the owners of WWE won't even pay for ESPN.
And like, and just real quick on the touch on it, the reason why I mentioned Stephanie is because shout out to The Undertaker inducting her into the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, that was I think probably the big surprise of the evening, by the way, because I was like, Undertaker, what's he doing here? Is he the big surprise? I thought he was going to make some sort of announcement. I thought he was going to get in the ring. He didn't even get in the ring, by the way.
No, he went and sat next to her, and like seeing Stephanie's face when she heard that, it was a tearjerker for me, because like, I mean, people know Stephanie McMahon as far as like her persona when she was the Authority, and when she bought ECW, like we remember that. We remember all the countless remarks from Jericho about her fun bags. We get it. But in reality, though, you really can appreciate Stephanie and how much she loved the business. And even as far as like the shows that she does now, where she hosts the show, where she allows the talent to basically recall a past story that they share with her, really kind of diving into these, into the superstars' personal lives and everything. So it's like to see her be inducted into the Hall of Fame and to see her reaction, I think that was a great moment. But you won't find great moments like that unless you get the NordVPN. That is the most like that's the most logical reason to get it, is for WWE, obviously, so you can bypass all that stuff. And the second reason comes from the nerd side. Besides being able to get access to the PLEs and Monday Night Raw and all that on one area, Netflix, if you have things like personal files on your PC, stuff on your phone, because you do get access to the VPN on your phone if you subscribe. From what I know. So
yes, you can download the VPN on your phone as well. Yes.
Yep. So you can cover all your tech items, whether you're not a techie or whatnot. You can cover that. You can make sure that your connections with your Wi-Fi at home is encrypted, it's protected, that all your IoTs are playing nicely together with nothing snatching any information, because a lot of information is being snatched these days. It's real easy to do it, and you just never know what information of yours is circulating on the dark web out there, because people are able to actually crack in even into RCS messaging and getting one-time pin passwords that can get into your bank account. So Nord it up. Use the link in the description, guys. I'm telling you, it saves. But you want to take us out?
Yeah, man. Again, thank you all for joining in today on this episode of the Deathlock Podcast. I really appreciate y'all being here today. Thank you, Tito, for being here. I know you got to go pick up your kids, so just want to close it out with saying, subscribe if you're watching on the YouTube side. Please like, comment, and share the videos with your friends. Anyone that is interested in wrestling or likes to talk about wrestling. If you're watching on TikTok, same thing, right? Like and share the videos, right? Definitely want to continue building the fan base on other platforms as well. And if I can figure out a way to get this on IG as well, maybe on one of Tito's platforms, maybe we can do that also one of these days as well. So, but again, guys, we'll go ahead and close out. Thanks again for watching today. Everybody have a good afternoon, and we'll see you possibly tonight on TikTok for the Monday Night Raw live stream.